Good morning, everybody. This is Stephen Pugh of the Home Bible College. We're continuing our studies in Job chapter 13. It's June the 15th today, and Job is still speaking in chapter 13. He says, "Lo, mine eyes hath seen all this, and mine ear hath heard and understand. What ye know, the same do I know also. I am not inferior unto you." You see, the comforters of Job, who are hardly bringing any comfort to him, they're treating him like an idiot. They're treating him like a fool. They're treating him like a madman. He says, "Look, I understand things too. I understand things like you understand things. Surely I would speak to the Almighty, and I desire to reason with God. But you are forgers of lives, you are all physicians of no value. Oh, that you would altogether hold your peace, and then that would be your wisdom." He says, look, if only you wouldn't speak to me, then you would be considered to be wise. He says, "Hear my reasonings, and listen to the pleadings of my lips. Will I speak wickedly for God, and talk deceitfully for him? Will I accept his person? Will you contend for God? It is good that he should search you out, or that one man mocketh another, so you mock him. He will surely reprove you, if you do secretly accept persons. Shall not his excellency make you afraid, and his dread fall upon you? Your remembrances, your memories are like ashes. Your bodies are bodies of clay. So hold your peace, leave me alone, so that I may speak, and let come upon me what he will. Wherefore do I take my flesh in my teeth, and put my life in my hand." Then verse 15. Verse 15 is my first of two passwords for today. He says, "Though he slay me, yet will I trust in him, but I will maintain my own ways before him. He also shall be my salvation." Now, by the way, just put by the way there, when he says he shall be my salvation, there's a clue there. His salvation is future. And he's not referring here to the salvation of his soul. He's referring to the salvation of deliverance from this suffering and deliverance from this pain. He says, "But this is how I stand. If he slays me, I'm still going to be trusting in him, and I will maintain my own ways before him." See, Job is a determined man. He's determined to remain faithful to his covenant God. Now, he's not a Christian. He isn't even a Jew. This is way before the Jews ever existed. This is a man under the covenant of Noah. So he's a covenant man. He's in a relationship with God under law, and he's in a relationship with God according to the covenant. And he says, even if he slays me, I will trust him. I will maintain my own ways before him. So that's what happens with a righteous man. He seeks to live righteously before his covenant God. He says, "Hear diligently my speech and my declaration with your ears. Behold, now I have ordered my cause. I know that I shall be justified." Justified in what sense? Not like a Christian. No. He says, I know that what I'm saying will be proven to be right after all. It will be proven to be right after all. I'm a bit thirsty. Let me just... He speaks of himself. He says, "How many are my iniquities and sins? Make me to know my transgression and my sin. Wherefore hidest thou thy face, and holdest me for thine enemy? Wilt thou break a leaf driven to and fro? Wilt thou pursue the dry stubble? For thou writest bitter things against me, and makest me to possess the iniquities of my youth. Thou puttest my feet into stocks, and lookest narrowly upon all my paths. Thou settest a print upon the heels of my feet, and me as a rotten thing consumeth, as a garment that is moth-eaten. Do you know, Job is going through the mill, isn't he? He is struggling physically, struggling in pain and in confusion. He pleads with God. He says, if I've sinned, then tell me and I'll confess it. But I'm determined to remain faithful to you. In chapter 14, he continues, he says, man that is born of a woman is of few days and full of trouble. There are many phrases mentioned in the book of Job which are classic. We've already mentioned one. Here is another. Man that is born of a woman is of few days and full of trouble. This is often quoted at funerals. He goeth forth like a flower, is cut down. He fleeth as a shadow and continueth not. Who can make a clean thing out of an unclean? Not one, seeing his days are determined. The number of his months are with thee. Thou hast appointed his bounds, that he cannot pass. Turn from him, that he may rest, till he shall accomplish as a hireling his day. For there is hope of a tree. If it is cut down, it will sprout again, that the tender branch thereof will not cease, though the root thereof wax old in the earth, and the stock thereof die in the ground. Yet the tree only has to smell a drop of water, and it will bud and bring forth boughs like a plant. But man dies and wastes away. Yea, man gives up the ghost, and then where is he? As the waters fail from the sea, and as the flood decayeth and drieth up, so man lieth down and riseth not, till the heavens be no more. They shall not awake, nor be raised out of their sleep. Now, this is one of the favourite passages of various cults and various false teachers who say how that mortal life, when it ceases, a man ceases to exist. He doesn't exist at all. But it's not saying that. It is merely describing life from the point of view of the mortal. He's saying when a man dies, he dies. But he doesn't say that there is no eternal spirit. He said, oh, that you would hide me in the grave, and that you would keep me secret there until thy wrath be past, that thou wouldst appoint me a set time and remember me. You see, there is a resurrection from the dead. And then verse 14 is another password. I'm allowed to have two, aren't I? He says, if a man die, shall he live again? All the days of my appointed time will I wait till my change come. You say that. If a man die, will he live again? The answer is yes, he certainly will. You see, all the days of his life and all the days of his being in the grave, he says, my body will wait until the change comes. There will be a resurrection to eternal life, and a resurrection later to eternal damnation to those that forsake their God. Thou shalt call, and I will answer. Thou wilt have a desire to the work of my hands. For now thou numberest my steps. Dost thou not watch over my sin? My transgression is sealed up in a bag, and thou sewest up my iniquity. And surely the mountain falling cometh to naught, and the rock is removed out of his place. The waters wear the stones, that thou washest away the things that grow out of the dust of the earth. Thou destroyest the hope of man. Thou prevailest for ever against him, and he passeth. Thou changest his countenance, and sendest him away. His sons come to honour, and he knoweth it not, and they are brought low, but he perceiveth it not of them. But his flesh upon him shall have pain, and his soul within him shall mourn. It's very wordy, isn't it? These passages are very wordy, but they are so utterly, utterly full of meaning. This is perhaps the first book ever written that we call the Scriptures. Now, in chapter 15, Eliphaz speaks to Job. Eliphaz the Temanite says, "Should a wise man utter vain knowledge and fill his belly with the east wind? Should he reason with unprofitable talk? Or his speeches wherewith he can do no good? Yea, you've cast off all fear. You are unrestrained in your prayer before God. Your mouth utters iniquity, and you choosest the tongue of the crafty." He says the problem with you, Job, is you're too crafty. The trouble with you, Job, is you've got too much to say for yourself. You have no fear of God, and you just speak all of your stuff to God. That's the thing. Thine own mouth condemneth thee, not I. It isn't me that's condemning you, Job. Your own mouth is condemning you. Yea, your own lips testify against you. Are you the first man to be born? This is mocking him, isn't it? Or were you made before the hills were made? Hast thou heard the secrets of God? Do you restrain yourself? Dost thou restrain wisdom to thyself? What knowest thou? What do you know that we don't know? What do you understand that we don't understand? With us are both grey-headed and very aged man, every elder, much elder than thy father. Are the consolations of God small with thee? Is there any secret thing with thee? Is there nothing, Job, that you don't understand? This is naughty, isn't it? Why doth thy heart carry thee away? And what do thy eyes wink at? Thou hast turned thy spirit against God, and letteth such words out of thy mouth. What is man, that he should be clean, and he which is born of a woman, that he should be righteous? You see, these men that have come to Job, they don't understand. They don't understand that a righteous man is righteous in the sight of God, and is righteous in his own eyes if he has truly put away sin by sacrifice. And they don't see that. And because he's in pain and because he's in suffering, they're accusing him of sin. Behold, he putteth no trust, this is God, he putteth no trust in his saints. God doesn't trust you, and the heavens are not clean in his sight. How much more abominable and filthy is man, who drinketh iniquity like water? I will show thee, hear me. That which I have seen I will declare, which wise men have told from our fathers, and have not hid, upon whom the earth alone was given, and no stranger passeth among them. The wicked man travaileth in pain all his days, and the number of years is hidden to the oppressor. A dreadful sound is in his ears. In prosperity the destroyer will come upon him. He believeth not that he shall return out of darkness. He waiteth for the sword. He wandereth abroad for bread, saying, Where is it? He knoweth not that the day of darkness is ready at hand. Trouble and anguish shall make him afraid. They shall prevail against him as a king ready to battle. He stretches out his hand against God. He strengtheneth himself against the Almighty. He runneth upon him, even to his neck, upon the thick bosses of his bucklers. Because he covereth his face with the fatness, and maketh collops of fat upon his flanks. He dwelleth in desolate cities, and in houses where no man inhabits, which are ready to become heaps. He shall not be rich, neither shall his substance continue, neither shall he prolong the perfection thereon upon the earth. He shall not depart out of darkness, and the flame shall dry up his branches, and by the breath of his mouth shall he go away. Let not him that is deceived trust in vanity, for vanity shall be his recompense. He shall shake off his unripe grape as the vine, and shall cast off his flower as the olive. For the congregation of hypocrites shall be desolate, and fire shall consume the tabernacles of bribery. They conceive mischief, they bring forth vanity, and their belly prepareth deceit. Now the question is this: is Eliphaz right? Is there nothing good in man? Is every single human as bad as a man can ever be? Is every man utterly, utterly, utterly wicked? Well, the answer is no. Here's a man. He's not saved as a Christian saved. His sins are not forgiven. His sins are covered. They're covered by blood sacrifice, but that's a different thing. Here's a man who in the honesty of his heart before his covenant God, he lives a righteous life. It's just that he's come under the discipline of God. He's come under the suffering of this life, and his friends assume that he must be a sinner. He must have sinned. It's the only explanation. And Job looks up and says, I haven't. Well, God bless you. Look forward to speaking to you again tomorrow. Have a wonderful day. Bye for now.